Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you by ShortTrackExclusives.com. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two other short track guys in the studio, as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Can'tQuitFishing.com Sportsman and 2021 Sportsman Champion here locally at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. And Ted Baber Video Productions, also at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. What's up, guys?
Greetings.
What's up?
We have got a really good show tonight. We're going to recap some things that have happened this past week. We've got some things coming up this weekend, and we've got a very special guest from the Carolina Pro Late Model Series and the Crate Modified Series in the Carolinas that is on the phone with us remotely. We're going to get to him in just a second. We're excited to hear about what they've got going up there. We have touched on it before, but we're going to get a little bit more in depth with that here in just a second.
Get a little more meat there.
We're excited about this one.
Yeah, so we've got a race coming up this weekend that, it's a Night of Champions with the Sportsman Series. So what's going on with that stable there with that 07?
Well, we put it on the scales last night and checked the numbers and got the tires ready. And thanks to Rich Bonneberger and Victor Herm at the window tinting. And I appreciate those guys and All Pools and my new sponsor, Escarosa Tree Service, for their help this year. And they bought me some tires, and we're going to bolt tires on it and qualify and see what happens. I think we got a pretty good car. We got some more cross in it than I'm used to. I was surprised when we put it on the scales, but my buddy John Ruth that helps me with setup told me just leave it alone. He said, when you get done with it, you can pull the shocks off up, bring it to me, and I'll build you a new set of shocks for the Derby. So,
right.
But we'll be ready. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good night of racing. Y'all come out to Five Flag Speedway, sit in the grandstands, drink a beer, enjoy the races. It's going to be a good show because, the championships are kind of close. There's enough of them that I think we could see a surprise champion.
You'd see some swings.
Yeah. Our class is pretty much going to be Brandon Fowler, and I really hope that he does because it'd be nice to see two Five Flags drivers actually win the championship back-to-back versus the Mobile guys, which are tough competition.
Oh, yeah.
So.
All right. There are going to be 4 champions that are crowned this weekend. The Pro Trucks, Sportsmen, Outlaws, and the Pure Stocks.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. It looks like Robert Loper is going to be the pure stock champion. I don't think there's anybody going to catch him. He has dominated this season. I think he's won every race but 2.
There'll have to be a brutal turnout of cars, and he would just have to explode on the first lap.
Or get tossed, and then the winner win, and it would be tough. But, he did a great job this year.
Well, that Saturday night on the 10th, and then the following week, the Southern Super Series and the Alan Turner Pro Late Model Series Night of Champions number 2 comes back. Right. And boy, I'm telling you what, this week and next week is going to be a highlight of area racing here in Pensacola.
It's going to be great.
Well, what they're going to do next week is Friday night, they're going to run a 75-lap Pro Late Model race. And then I don't know if there's going to be a support division or not. Then Saturday night, they're going to run a 75-lap Pro Late Model race and the Super race because they're going to try to make up that Alan Turner race. So he cut 25 laps off of both races, made them both 75-lappers because he was going to do a doubleheader Friday night, but the Pro Late Model guys are like, look, you're going to kill us because a lot of them guys are running Supers too.
Yes.
So they're going to 3 races in one night. It'd be kind of hard. Kind of hard on those guys. I'm glad he didn't. I watched the show that I didn't see him mention a support class for that race. So it may just be a 75-lap Pro Late Model race and then come back Saturday night and run 75 laps for the pros and it's 125-lap super race
race
now.
right?
Yeah, he's bumped it up 25 laps. So that ought to be really interesting.
Yes.
Ought to be a good show.
Yeah, and we're gonna move on to that next week. Wednesday, we'll get through with that this weekend, and then we'll prep up for the Super Series race next week with the Pro Late Models. We're going to recap last week's episode at North Wilkesboro with that racetrack revival. Man, I'm telling you what, if it hadn't been for Dale Earnhardt Jr., that probably would not have happened.
Well, his iRacing deal, he wanted to scan the track for iRacing because he didn't think it would ever open. So he said, at least we could run it in the virtual world.
Right.
And then when he got that done, he started lobbying the owners of the track. Hey, why don't we run this? Why don't we try to bring it back? And then people in the community and then the state of North Carolina stepped up and put money out. And they're like, okay, well, if you'll do that, then we'll run a race. But here's the cool thing: they were going to tear it up and run dirt. Now they're not.
No.
I think after the show that they had, I think they're going to
like,
take that money and invest it into the track.
Right.
My personal opinion: they ought to fix the grandstands and everything around it. Don't pave it just yet. Run a couple more seasons, a couple more big races on it, then pave it. I think that would be really cool. But Dale Jr. had a lot to do with it. And to see his interview after that race when he finished third, he was like a kid. I mean, it was super cool to see him that enthusiastic and that happy. You've never seen him, even when he won cup races, you just didn't see that excitement that was in his voice. You could hear it. He was just excited and happy and pumped up because, I mean, he had a shot. And then he said something that a lot of people didn't expect. He said, I'm not done late model racing. So he's going to can do it. I would love to see him come run the snowball derby.
Absolutely.
Why not? I mean, you imagine the extra crowd that would bring if he would come and run the snowball derby. So, I mean, maybe we'll get to see that. But it was cool to see him excited, and he had a lot to do with it. And we thank him for that because that's a short track that doesn't need to be forgotten. I mean, my hero, Darrell Waltrip's won a bunch of races there. And just, I mean, the Earnhardts and the rivalries that happened in that place, the ghosts that circle that place is super cool.
The spirits are still there.
Yeah, bringing that track back after all these years. The grip had to have been unbelievable. And after a period of time, now that they're not, and they've made the decision that I read earlier today that they're not tearing that up and putting it on dirt because the time frame, I think, is a little different. But if you just kind of keep going with it, keep opening it up and wear it down, the transition of that track coming back to life, really coming back to life, has got to be important.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, and I don't think I think the change from the dirt thing was like I said, they saw how much that this race actually brought. And if they tear it up and resurface it, it doesn't quite have the same old feel to it. So why not just leave it alone?
Like some other track we know.
It's
got a lot of character.
Yeah. Well, I hate to see Five Flags get repaid, but it's getting to the point. It's going to have to be done. And when they do, oh my God, I can't imagine the corner speeds even in my class.
Yes.
Do you think that little stretch in the front has anything to do with maybe a test of resurfacing the whole track there at Five Flags?
Well, he had to do it because remember last year before the Derby, the last race they had, the chunk of front asphalt came up and they had to fix it and it was getting bad. And rather than patch it and risk it doing it at the Derby, he went ahead and paved the front straightaway, which we were worried about the grip level and coming off the corner and then hitting that old asphalt and then hitting the fresh and busting the rear end on pieces. Because I went and put Mosier axles in my car. I hadn't had them. I didn't need them, but I was worried about that. But it didn't affect anything. Now, when he paves the turns, ooh.
Yeah, that's going to be
wicked. I mean, right now, our car's on those 8-inch tires. We can roll through the corner. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when we got that kind of grip level?
Yeah.
Wicked.
Well, that is something we were obviously going to keep on our mind and in the radar. So, Cars Tour at North Wilkesboro, Carson Kvapil, ironically, Dale Jr. Motorsports driver in the 8 car that Josh Berry vacated and went full-time Xfinity. Carson Kvapil, Dale Jr. said himself, this guy's the real deal. His be the son of pedigree that we've talked about before, and the youth, so you can put that together. Carson Kvapil comes out with Mason Diaz battling it out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishes third with Jonathan Schaefer and Bobby McCarty, and we've talked about Bobby McCarty a lot in that Cars Tour. Some of the notables there in the window world, 125, Caden Honeycutt, William Sawalich, which we're going to get into just after this. Because that 15-year-old right there is like on fire.
The Minnesota Missile.
Yeah, the Minnesota Missile that you have labeled him as. Yes. Jared Fryer, Chad McCumbee, and Connor Hall out into the top 16. But, I mean, the great field of cars there. And this William Sawalich who comes up didn't have really, it's a top 10. Yeah, okay. It's 8th place finish in the Cars Tour. But then he goes back and continues his hot streak and wins up at Winchester.
Yes.
At 15 years old. Now, if you're not 15 and have a resume, I don't think you're going anywhere.
No,
doubtful.
and I don't. It's you know me. I like the older guys. I'm not a fan of these kids, but they're awesome and they're fast and they're here and there's nothing we can do about it. So they're going to win. And that kid is just, you got to have talent to drive those cars. You can't just jump in. I don't care how much money you spend. You might run up front, but you're not going to win the way he's winning without the talent that kid has, and he's got a ton of it.
Yeah, Donnie Wilson and
Yes.
Toyota was a good combination.
He's got a really good crew, a really good team, and an excellent car builder and under him, so that doesn't hurt.
No, but see, he's won in the Setzer car. He's not just won in Donnie Wilson's cars. He's won in other people's cars this year too. So the boy is driving, and he's pretty dadgum awesome. I'll get to, even with his hard to pronounce last name,
We finally got it down.
Yeah, finally. It took a little bit when he won at Five Flags the first time. We're like, so well.
Yeah, William Sawallet.
So Wallet.
Yep. That was the Jegs CRA All-Star race at Winchester, and he battled Michael Hind.
Yeah.
We talked about that fine-looking 69 Fire car. And Tommy St. John, it's up and up for him.
Michael Hind led that race, for
Right.
like 38 laps, dude. And I think that's only his second time at Winchester.
Right.
That's another dude that we got to watch out for because
Absolutely.
this year he's been in the top 3 in a lot of big races, and he's right there. Him and his big mullet.
He
He's
loves that mullet.
But he has the coolest looking race car. I mean,
yes.
there's no doubt to who that is when he shows up. So
Yeah, you can't mistake that one.
no, I mean he's
right
good, and that's another guy that's coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, that's one of those cars that you don't really need to know the number.
No, you don't.
You just see the car and those
See the
flames coming
flames.
off the
Oh,
front
yeah.
end, and you know who it is. That's Michael Hind.
One quick correction on me. Last week at North Wilkesboro, I mistakenly said that Jonathan Langham finished 6th. He finished 10th. Qualified 6th. Did a great job from Mobile, Alabama. He's the only guy from the Gulf Coast that went up there. We're very proud of him. I told him so at Mobile when I saw him. I shook his hand, told him congratulations, great job. He was just happy as he could be. He said if he could finish in the top 20, he would have been happy. Well, he finished in the top 10. So that's pretty cool. That's one of my main competitors in the sportsman division, him and his little brother.
He took a knife to the gunfight there.
He did. He didn't have the car that the CRA guys have, but I mean, to finish in the top 10 in that
that's
racing,
good.
it's pretty sporty.
Yeah.
Hey, one quick fact. I got to tell you all this because I learned this week. So it's just, I know it's in the middle of something, but it's kind of funny. William Byron. I did not know that his great grandfather was Red Byron, the first NASCAR champion.
Oh, man.
So I learned that the other day. I was like, wow, I didn't know that because Red Byron was a World War II bomber pilot that had his bottom of his left leg blown out by flak, and he had to drive with his foot in a stirrup on the clutch. But he was the first official NASCAR champion in 1948.
Man.
Just a little bit of trivia there. Just you know me, I'm full of that stuff. So I just had to remember that because I thought that was really neat when I found out that Byron. Never dawned on me that his great grandfather was Red Byron.
Yeah, that's episode 13 history lesson there.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, you just never know.
Nope.
Jeopardy, who wants to be a millionaire?
If they had a NASCAR edition in Jeopardy, I'd probably win it.
Yeah.
Be pretty good at that.
Well, we got some Port City race car shout outs.
Oh, yeah.
We kind of do that pretty much every week. We're big Bubba Pollard fans, and he's in the Port City chassis. We've got his fender here in the studio. Robert Strimska at Carteret County Speedway. Jason Stark at Golden Sands Speedway. Barry Attaway in Jennerstown Speedway, Ryan Ripley at Wiscasset Speedway, Matt Carter at Langley, and Bubba Pollard at Mobile International.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations to all you Port City chassis winners. Continue the success, and we were not only Bubba Pollard fans, but we're now becoming even stronger Port City race car chassis fans.
Yes.
Yep, definitely.
That race at Mobile was just outstanding. It was just stalk. Get there a little bit at a time, and finally the pass the lead, and the place just went nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Donnie passed the 51,
Yeah.
Jake Finch for the lead, and then finally Bubba got by, and then we had that caution. Then they come in and did the whatever brake, changed tires, and Bubba come out and never looked back.
Yeah.
Donnie did catch him later in the run, but Bubba said the last 5 laps he was running 3/4. He wasn't running the car hard just in case he needed something for a restart.
Right.
Donnie got to him, but Bubba just looked up like, see you later. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's typical Bubba too. When he's got everything down in this area. I know he's struggled a little bit getting back from that Johnny Van Dorn thing and getting back to Port City. He struggled a little bit. He won a little bit earlier in the year. He's kind of gone on a lull. This was big coming back to his grassroots because he claims this area as being, his hometown area, with Five Flags and Mobile, being from Sonoya. But he's a working man. He doesn't drive for a living, so to speak, like some of the others.
Right.
So when he does win, it's just down deep hard work.
I heard both of them talking about the humidity the other night, and it was awful.
Yeah, it was. Well, we had rain in the area, and they had to move the late model race up because me and Ted missed out on an interview with Bubba and Donnie Wilson because of the rain. But
exactly,
it was a good race, and congratulations to Gina. It was a good showing for her. She had a decent crowd.
Yeah.
Car count was okay. It could have been better, but I think it was a good show for her, and it was good to see it. And hopefully next year that race will be even bigger.
Good crowd.
Good crowd. Decent pits. I think there should have been some more pure stocks there. There were some people that didn't come. I wish they would support it if they could. I know I say that, and I can't get my sportsmen over there because they run on different tires.
Right.
It's expensive. It's hard for me to switch from Hoosiers to American Racers and
Back and
do
forth,
it every week. So I got to choose one or the other, and I'd rather run at home. So, but congratulations to them. Good SRL race. Ricky Brooks did a fine job. The whole crew, I think they put on a good show. It was smooth. It went very well. We got out of there relatively early.
Yes, we did.
So, I mean, that was good. And congratulations to Gina and her team. They did a good job.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, and Bubba Pollard obviously comes up on top over Donnie Wilson with a big battle. Dustin Smith, Jake Finch, and Johanna Robbins rounds up the top 5 with some notables. Chris Davidson, we've talked about him from Pearl in Texas. One of our big favorites here, Michael Atwell, Nick Neary, and Stephen Davis rounding out the top, 15. But I know they didn't have the finish they wanted, but those are names that are prominent in that series, and we look forward to talking about them in the future. But
one other thing, though, you got to remember Timothy Watson.
Yes.
That guy bought a car from the Finches and qualified second and was flying. And that dude is going to be our outlaw champion this year. Mm-hmm. And his outlaw car is for sale because I think he's going super late model racing. He did a great job.
Absolutely.
Sitting in that car for the first time. So congratulations to him on his good run, and we'll see what happens.
I think that's his first time at that track too, in a super.
Yeah. So I mean, he's going to be somebody we're going to be watching and talking about this next year or so.
Absolutely. And speaking of, we've got a guest online.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
He's on the phone remotely. It's Keith Graham. He is the owner and promoter of the Carolina Pro Late Model Series and the Carolina Crate Modified Series, and Keith, I know you've listened to us up until this point, and we want to reach out and thank you for taking the time out to be with us and tell us a little bit about what this Carolina Pro Late Model Series is all about.
First of all, I appreciate you guys having me, and it's the Pro Late Model, which I'm a little different. I'm not sure if you guys have looked at. I'm a little different pro than what the average is about with the national pro deal is. I'm based around just crate motors, 602 and 604s only. That's all I run in my cars. But we kind of based off a budget deal. And that's how me and my wife, we built it. It's our motto is built by racers for racers. So everything I do around the pros and my crate mods is I do my best to try to keep it cost effective, for the race car, team owners and drivers, because the baseline of the whole deal was to bring some of these straight rail cars out of their garages because a lot of people couldn't afford to race them. So that was the goal, is to get them out of their garages and let's knock the dust off of them and go racing. Now it's turned into a little bit, it's gotten bigger than what I thought it was going to be, but it's still the baseline, and I try my darndest to keep it all budget based.
Yeah, and how does your upbringing with the racing? We talked previously before we went on that you were a native to this area in Pensacola, and did that stir your interest to get to where you are now in that series?
Oh yeah. I was obviously born and raised in Pensacola, Florida, and playing with Matchbox cars on my couch growing up as a kid. making all the motor noises and stuff. And that's what my mother says anyway. And it's just, and my mother, friends of mine would say if I ever fell down and busted my head open, race cars would come out of it, so that's it. I've just been with it my whole life. It doesn't, I mean, as far as back as I can remember, I can remember being standing in the grandstands on the top row of Five Flags Peak Bay when they didn't have the walls around there or nothing like that. I mean, I remember that. I remember all that stuff. I just remember the atmosphere, the smell of it, the people, and that's just what it is. I'm just ate up with it. Always have been.
Well, they say they can't put it in you and they can't take it out.
No, heck no. I know how you feel. I was 9 years old, and a friend of my dad's took me out there, and I've been addicted to this drug since then. So I'll be 52 next month, so I understand completely.
Yeah,
well, I imagine we were out there at the same time because I'm 50.
Yeah, well, I bet we were.
So I'm sure we were out there at the same time. I mean, seeing guys go off the back straightaway and
wait for the trees to rattle.
Disappear.
Right, and you've got a lot of big names that have come through that series at numerous tracks, Hickory and Motorbile and etc. With Caden Honeycutt and the Quapples and all that, and Katie Hettinger and a lot of these other big names, Gavin Bushell even, that's been in that sprint car with the Swindell lab. So, I mean, you've obviously done something right. And what do you see in the future here closely to, how this series can grow even bigger?
I'm just going to continue moving on the same path, and that's where I think that's what's helping us, that I'm not going through and changing a bunch of stuff every other year. I'm just trying to stick to the same path, the same goal, the same tire rules, the same rules, and just continue to move forward. Yeah, I hear like you guys are racers, and you guys are some belly aching guys, I tell you sometimes, but
yes.
And that's saying it politely, but it's a struggle, but that's just the path I'm going to stay on. I mean, I'm going to stick to my guns. My first season doing this deal, I did some flip-flopping and moving things around, and I think it hurt me. But once I learned, because I went from racer to promoter, and I mean, it's like big difference in trying to learn.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to learn what I'm to deal with and to listen and trying to make it be a democracy somewhat to listen to the racers, but sometimes, I mean, for majority of the time, it's got to be a dictatorship.
Yeah,
because I can't let the patients run the asylum.
Yeah, you can't let rule creep get in there, because the more you let them dictate what's going to happen on the track and in the pits, the worse it's going to get. They're just going to ask for more and more and more. Oh,
I've seen many a series ruined like that because the money gets in there so bad, and then the little guy gets forgot about.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of struggling with. I'm not struggling with it. I'm trying to keep. Even though I've got some money teams coming, which is great, I want all the teams, but I'm just trying to keep it to where the money teams and my budget teams, they all still feel like when they show up, they all have a shot at it.
That's cool. I like that.
Right. And we noticed.
I try to do.
Right. And we noticed your wife Wendy has got a big part in that too, and that's a pretty good partnership there you got going on with that.
Oh yeah, it's a real good partnership. She's, to be honest with you, guys, I mean, the behind the scenes stuff, all the points, all the social media stuff. I mean, she does all that stuff. Unfortunately, she'll tell you, all I am is the mouth of it, and do all this talking in the driver's meeting and lay down the law, that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to laying down the law, I got to make sure it's okay with her first, Yeah, but,
we know how that is.
The boss.
Yeah, but I can't. Without her, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. I'd be honest with you. I mean, because I still work for a living just like everybody else, So she does it for me.
Well, it looks like it's amazing what you guys have done up there, and the Pro Late Model Series and that Crate Modified Series is just has really started to take off. And I notice it now just through the social media that you've got things going on here, and you've got a big race coming up here, I think, on the 17th.
Yeah,
right.
that was something I had a question about there. You got the 2000 win for the Carolina Pro Lates and the Crate Modifieds. the Mass Street Stock Series 1,000 to win and the Legends 500 to win, but you've got an event coming up that pays $100 to win. I have to know, and I think the world is curious, what the heck is the Redneck Olympics?
It's just a bunch of fun stuff with kids and stuff. It's hard to, I mean, the guy I'm partnered with on that deal, he kind of set that up, which is Ron Barfield, the owner operator of Dillon Motor Speedway. And he's kind of come up with that. And so to be honest with you, I don't have too many details on it. I don't know 100% completely of what he's got going on there. But he always comes up with some awesome things to do to attract fans, because me and him are doing this race together at Anderson, and we're trying to create some fans.
That's a good thing. Let me ask you about the modifieds. Are they like the ground pounder modifieds, but with the 602 crates? They're exactly. It's pretty much a tour modified, tour modified with a 602. Cool.
And a 10-inch tire. I put them on a 10-inch tire, the F45s. We're 3 years into that deal, going into our fourth year with our pros, but we go third year with the modifieds, and it's taken a little bit to get going. I don't know about down there, but the modified guys up here are, they all know. I tell them this all the time. They are a weird bunch of guys, but I love them to death. But I mean, just trying to get them to get everybody at the racetrack at the same time, because I can have 6 guys at one race and 7 or 8 guys at the next race. And I'm like, well, how come we can't get all you guys at one time so we can have 15 guys at one racetrack?
Yeah.
So cause I've been struggling with the get the car count up with my modifieds, and I think that's what's happened up here in this region before. People have tried it and they've struggled with it, and then they give up on it. Well, I'm not giving up on it, because I'm going to keep digging, because I want to bring modifieds. I want the modifieds to be strong in this region. You look at Northeast, Connecticut, and Stafford Speedway.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're 30-plus car fields up there.
Yep. Well, I like the 602 idea. I've tried to tell our promoter at Five Flags if he would do an economy modified class with those stock clip modifieds like we run down here, with a 602 with a triple disc clutch with a stock type transmission, 9-inch rear end, no quick change, no high dollar shocks, and on a G60 tire. And I think we'd have 100 of them, but nobody wants to do it. All the guys with the money don't want to do it. And if you listen to the guys all the time with the money, the little guy that wants to do it can't do it. Because I've been in the sportsman division for years, and it's the only class I can afford. I'd love to move up, but they've made all the classes that I can move into so expensive that there's no way.
Yeah, and it is so difficult. Racing in general is difficult financial wise, no matter what. It doesn't matter. Well, me, even as a sportsman, you still spend a buttload of money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you're running a 4-banger, or you're spending a buttload of money, and that's what it's just a matter of how much do you want to spend.
Exactly.
And that's where I'm at with which I've talked to Tim a little bit about some rule packages and stuff, because I'd love to bring my cars down there, but again, a lot of my lower budget guys can't afford to pull 10 hours to go race at Five Flags. So I try to put big shows on up here, or try to, but it always comes down to money and sponsorship, and try to. Because I only pay $1,000 to win, $200 to start on my normal purse.
Yeah.
And you see some of the cars I'm pulling, and some of the people I pull in. I still pull in 25 to 26 cars at Hickory Motor Speedway. With not paying no money.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the old joke: if you want to make a million in racing, you start with 10.
Yeah.
That's correct.
It's never about making money, but it's enough to make enough to come back to the next show. That's the way I look at it. If the promoters would pay just enough to get me in, maybe I can find a sponsor to pay for tires or whatever, and that would be cool. And something I hadn't talked to Thomas about, but I think would be really cool if you were to get your series to come down here. We'd love to put our name on the side of somebody's car.
Oh, yes.
and I could get one of my sponsors to help them out. If we could get enough people to do that, get like one of my sponsors to put up, say, $500 to get one of your guys down here. And if next one, we could get your series down here. I think if we could work together and me and Thomas and Ted would be willing to help you any way we can, because we would love to have another late model series here, because that's just the more the merrier is the way I look
Absolutely.
at it. And I would love to see those modifieds get around Five Flag Speedway, by the way.
Oh yeah, me too. Well, I remember when I back in the day, we used to have some pretty good modified shows out there. At one point, but yeah, y'all know it's the way the state our country's in anyway. But anyway, the modified deal is meaningful to me. Which to be honest with you, I'm a street side guy. That's my heart and soul. That's what I love, street stocks, and that's where with going to Anderson Motor Speedway on September 17th with the Mid-Atlantic street stocks. I mean, I love those cars. I love the cars of the Spectator division at Five Flags. I'm not sure if I don't think y'all call it Spectator division anymore.
Sportsman, that's where we are now.
Yeah, sportsman, but the Spectator division. I mean, I bought my first car from Kenny King.
Oh, wow. My God.
Talk about a name.
The 44 car.
Yep.
Yeah.
My wife actually did. Let me back up. My wife bought my first race car from Kenny King.
Yep.
I turned it into a dirt track car and went and ran Southern Raceway with it. So.
We used to in '91. We used to run a Ford Falcon at Five Flag Speedway in the Spectator division when Terry Spears had it. We had a little. It was a pile of junk, but man, the thing would go fast, and we won a bunch of races with that little old Ford Falcon. So I remember those days.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because like I said, it was Kenny King we were hanging out with, and there was another guy that he used to hang out with all the time. I just can't remember his name for nothing.
Well, the Kitchen brothers is who when he drove that orange 44, he drove for the Kitchen family. Because I spun one of the Kitchens out driving the car one night because Kenny had his knee and had knee surgery. And Kenny got mad at me, boy. He wanted to fight me like something fierce.
Kenny wanted to fight every time he got out of the race car.
That's true. That's true.
You go to a race.
We're good friends now, so we're good buddies now. But back then he was mad at me, and I drove a super stock one night, and he told me I better have my head strapped down tight because he was going to tear the rear bumper off. And I said, "Bring it, dude. This ain't even my car. We'll both go through the fence."
Okay.
Oh yeah, I can see Kenny saying that. Yeah, I seen him snatch a couple dudes around out there.
Oh yeah. But he'd snatch your head 1 minute and give you a tire the next race. He's good people.
He would.
Good people.
You got the 17th coming up at Anderson. October 15th, you got Hickory. And then Southern National back at November 25th or the 28th with both of those series, albeit Hickory. Is there like an end of the year race that you're going to put those together to kind of accommodate what would maybe happen for like the Snowball Derby or some of these bigger late model races?
Yeah, a big championship night.
Well, not really. I mean, we do the Thanksgiving Classic at Southern National, which is he's Michael Diaz over that owns that place. He's putting together a $50,000 race for his late model stocks. So I'm just trying to get involved with that because some of those guys like to have some money to throw around. I'm not sure where they're getting it from, but once I get to that point, I'm trying slowly but surely because I do want to have some premier events in our own stuff to give my guys the spotlight. Because right now I kind of just piggyback off of other people's shows, with the way we go in and do things, So as we build this thing and move forward with it, that is my goal, to be able to go in and have my own shows and give my guys and my cars the spotlight, both divisions. I want them to have the spotlight because, probably like you guys know, y'all see some of these big shows and where they to me, it's the show. Just about pushing the cars out on the front straightaway, having the crews out there with their shirts and pushing them out and doing driver introductions and letting the fans interact. That's what I want. That's what I remember as a kid sitting in the grandstands and seeing these guys push out on the front straightaway and going down the fence going, this is so badass, and then just to get the chills on the back of my neck when they go, gentlemen, start your engines. That's what I want. That's what I want my cars or my racers to experience, and fans in the stands to experience also, is being the main part of the show.
Well, it sounds like you and Wendy are doing exactly that, and we appreciate it. we've had a good time. We're going to keep up with the Carolina Pro Late Model Series and that Carolina Crate Modified Series, and we're going to stay in touch with you. Thank you so much for taking the time out with us and explaining a little bit more about what the Carolina Pro Late Model Series and that Crate Modified Series is. Man, it's been fun.
Fun.
We've learned a lot, and we're going to continue to learn and keep up with you, and we appreciate it in the future.
Going forward, yeah. And one other thing we would love, it would be super cool for us to come up there one weekend and go to one of your races. I think that would be awesome.
The invitation is open. Y'all just give me the heads up, and I'm not big like some of these other series, but I'll give you the best VIP I can. I got a Coca-Cola and a hot dog. Yeah,
hey. That'll help me out.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think
that's all you got to do. All you guys got to do is just call me. Call me. Come up here anytime you go to any of my races. You guys are more than welcome. I'd love to have you.
Cool. Yeah. We'd love to take that opportunity, man. I think we decided that our bucket list has turned into a dumpster list because we've been talking about races that we'd love to go to.
Go everywhere.
Yeah. So and I think that November race would be a good one if we could get up there. I think that would be. I think we're all off on Thanksgiving, so it wouldn't be bad to ride up there.
Weekend before the Derby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait.
Yeah, that's a haul. And that's the reason we tried to kind of do it to catch some of the guys coming from the Northeast down to hit Kinley on the way down to Derby. So that was our plan, but I don't know if it works out or not. We'll see.
Well, the invitation is open. You guys heard it. We're going to try to take advantage of that. Keith and Wendy, thank you so much, and we will keep up with that, and we'll hopefully get you back on here shortly to go over some more of that success. Yes. Thank you so much for taking the time out, and you have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. See you later.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Keith Graham with the Carolina Pro Late Model Series and the
Crate
Modified Series. Yes, up in the Carolinas. Being a Pensacola native, Florida native, is a race fan, race promoter and owner. His wife apparently running the show, but we all understand that. It's all good. They're doing great things up there, and they've got some big names going in there with their races, and man, that was really cool.
I want to hear more about that one.
Yeah, definitely. And I would love to go up there and watch one of those races, so we might make a plan to ride up there.
Yeah, that was really cool, and we'll certainly, with all of our other guests, we'll try to keep up with them and bring them back on and just kind of stay up to date with everything that's going on so that keep our listeners informed of the progress.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've kind of covered what we can with the guests. We've got some of the big races covered, and guys, it's always a pleasure to get with you guys every week and talk short track racing, go over some of the big events and some of the local stuff, and having special guests. I mean, that's what it's really all about, and I appreciate you guys being a part of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, one other thing we almost forgot. Yes. Speaking of a short track guy.
Yes.
How about that Eric Jones winning it, the Southern 500 at Darlington in the Richard Petty famous number 43.
Yep.
Which is the 43's 200th win. A lot of people don't know that Richard Petty didn't win all his races in number 43. Yeah. He did win some in 41 and some in his dad's number in 42. This is the 200th exact win for the number 43. And Eric Jones, two-time Snowball Derby champion.
Yes.
First time passing Kyle Busch on the outside, which got him the truck ride, which made him the truck champion, which moved him to the Xfinity Series, which he was champion.
Right up the ladder.
he's in the Cup Series, driving the famous number 43. He got the job done. Congratulations to him.
Of all places at Darlington.
Yeah, and the funny thing was Kyle Busch was leading and blew up in front of him.
Yes.
So he ended up, beating Kyle Busch again. It's kind of ironic. But
and he outran another Gibbs car.
Yeah, he did.
Barely.
But he outdrove Denny Hamlin. He really outdueled him. He did a great job.
And lap traffic almost got him there too. And that's just one of them things we keep talking about.
Yeah,
you got to deal with it.
Yeah, lap cars go. But congratulations, to Eric Jones, man. We're proud of a short track guy who made it to the big time.
Yeah, sometimes things come full circle.
Yes, they do.
They come right around to you, and you end up, doing what you did before to get there.
Yeah.
Oh, and Richard Petty brought him he asked Richard Petty for one of his cowboy hats. Richard Petty told him, if you win a race, I'll give you a cowboy hat. So Richard Petty drove to the shop, I think yesterday, and gave him a cowboy hat.
Did you see what he gave him first? A little tiny hat in the box.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I mean, anytime you can win for the king,
yes,
that's pretty awesome. That's that's something that not very many people can say they've done.
Yeah, that's one for the mantle for sure.
Oh, heck yeah.
Well,
Congratulations.
guys, until next Wednesday,
Yes.
we cover up some more of this short track excitement that we got going on. I don't think there's really one other thing.
Just one thing.
One more.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Brandon. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening.